So I've had the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the iPhone 15 Pro since launch day 9 months ago, and I've been going between both of these, and I want to share with you my 9 months later experience between both of them and my differing thoughts on each. Stay tuned. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Let's talk about after 9 months, which one I felt was more worth the price. I've actually been going between both of these throughout this period, and this one's at $999 for the iPhone 15 Pro, and then the iPhone 15 Pro Max is $1199. Now, I think in terms of just sheer price for the money, I think the 15 Pro is a better option. It's $200 less, and it's nearly identical phone just about in almost every single way, shape, and form, except for a couple of areas like the camera zoom and the size of the battery. However, if you're keeping the phone for a longer extended period of time, I do think the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a better choice due to the larger battery giving you longer length of battery. And then because it's a big screen, the screens aren't going to get way bigger. If you decided you want a bigger screen in the future, you're already on a big screen. So I think for those long haul users, I think the 15 Pro Max is a better option. But if you're the type of person who upgrades every year or 2 years, I do think the iPhone 15 Pro definitely was just better for the price because it's a lot less. $200 is $200, and you're getting nearly the same exact phone. So that's how I feel about the prices 9 months later. Right, so let's talk about one of the areas I really loved about both 15 Pro Max and 15 Pro over 9 months, and that is their weight. I like how they got lighter. The iPhone 15 Pro Max dropping down to 221 grams. This is like one of the lightest Maxes ever. And it's been really smooth, very comfortable to hold. And even all these months later, I don't even feel like I actually am craving something crazy new. Of course, the 16 Pro Max and all the AI stuff coming, that is interesting. But if you bought a 15 Pro, I think you're set for a while, or a Pro Max. Now, for the regular 15 Pro, it's even better than the 15 Pro Max in terms of usability. Down to 187 grams. If you throw a case on this, it can get like closer to the older iPhone weights, but in terms of just without a case, if you put like a skin on here, a screen protector, this phone has been super comfortable to hold. No sharp corners on the edges, really smooth on the back. I will say it can get slippery in certain situations because of the matte textured rear, but overall, it's got a nice feel to it. It feels perfectly designed for the human hand, honestly. It's just a really great feel. So personally, I like the usability factor of the 15 Pro, the smaller one more. And I find because you can't do any split screen on the iPhone 15 Pro Max here, it's basically you're in an application. And I find if you're trying to do a split screen, there's no way to do it. There's no thing like a split screen on on a Pixel phone. If you're trying to do an edge panel, they don't got nothing like that. If you're trying to do like pull up the dock and pull in a separate app like on iPadOS, it doesn't do that either. So with that being said, I like the feel of the 15 Pro because iOS seems to be designed to be one app at a time. And this is closer to a phone most people could probably use occasionally with one hand. If you have a big hand, this is easy to one hand, but if you don't, this might still be a little bit of a reach, but I feel like more people can probably do some one-handing on the 15 Pro than the 15 Pro Max for sure. So let me show you an example of the usability. So let's say this is an iPhone. See, like even me, I got a big hand, but if I'm trying to reach over here, you can see it's a stretch. So I'm going to take my second hand, I'm going to bring the keyboard over, but then I got this smaller keyboard, which is nice. This is nice, but it still feels kind of awkward. And then if you want to reach up here, I have a big hand and look, I still got to move the phone down to get up there. Also, if I want to bring it down, you can do the one-handed mode. That's cool. These are not I'm not complaining about the phone. I'm just saying when we're comparing it to the 15 Pro, this is easier. Hold on. This is easier to use one hand. And if this is still too big for you, you can also use the same feature. But see, I was able to use one hand to get that keyboard over. I was able to use one hand. So, and you can also do that as well. And that even these features are still more useful on the smaller phone. So Usability, weight, it's the 15 Pro for me 9 months later. The thing I wanted to mention is because the iPhone 15 Pro is so light, I've actually had phantom disappearing in my pocket. What I mean by that is I would think it disappeared because it was so light. I was like scrambling, checking for the phone in my pocket. Have you ever had that feeling? I had that multiple times with the 15 Pro. That didn't really occur with the Max, mostly because it would be digging into my shorts, my pants, whatever I'm wearing, and you can just definitely tell it was there. Yes, it's lighter than before, but you are not losing this phone. And that's one factor. If you're the type of person who's kind of misplaces your products a lot, I think the bigger phone is the better option because the larger phone is easier to keep track of and harder to lose because it's larger. Smaller phones are always going to be a little bit easier to lose. That's why as things get smaller, like AirPods, for example, you're always losing the case or the buds. That's why Apple implemented that Find My feature as well as playing the sound on the case. From a design perspective, they both have the same design, and I personally like the Max more. The color I chose I like more, but I like that you're getting more of a larger phone for the money. Like when it comes to straight design, I feel like I got the king here with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Yeah, you have it here too with the 15 Pro, but I have more of that body here on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So I feel like if I'm paying over $1,000, I'm getting the biggest of the big, the best of the best. I feel like for that area, I really enjoy the look of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's just large, it's in your face, it's big, it's strong, it's a great phone here. So definitely thumbs up there. 15 Pro is nice, but it's just a little more sleeker, a little bit more low key. You know, it's not in your face, nothing like that, but still very premium all around. So both great phones in terms of the look and the field. I will say I also have noticed that you don't really see any scuffs or scratches as long as you take care of them pretty well. They do pretty good. The darker color options though can still get a little bit, they can get a little scuffed around the charging port. That's still something that could happen, especially go with this blue color option. Definitely can get that. Maybe even the black one as well. But definitely they feel quite nice to hold and things like that and look at. So both of these are OLED panels. Of course, though, you're going to get a bigger experience for the Max. But when you take a look at this video, you can see that it's actually not that much bigger. Let me zoom in a little bit. When you're watching a video, especially if you don't pinch in, it's not like crazy larger on the Max versus the 15 Pro. So you can see, yeah, a little bit bigger, but once you pitch in on both of these, they do cut off some of the content, especially depending on how that content was shot. But generally speaking, gorgeous panels on both of them. I would say if you're watching like Apple TV shows or you're watching shows on applications like Netflix or something like that, I do think the larger screen will be more enjoyable on the 15 Pro Max. But in a pinch, I think the 15 Pro still has amazing quality, just like that phone up there. So you're not really going to be missing out too much on either of these. Both very rich colors, deep black, saturation is strong, but at the same time, also pretty good sharpness with around 460 to 461 pixels per inch on the sharpness level. Now, when it comes to that sharpness, it's pretty noticeable within text, but what is the reading experience really like here on both of them? If we scroll all the way up here on both, you can see that the 15 Pro Max will show a little bit more content due to the larger screen. So you'll do slightly more scrolling on the 15 Pro, but it's only slight. And I would take that portability factor over a slight difference there. However, the width of the 15 Pro Max being a little bit wider means that it's just a more spacious and enjoyable experience if you do a lot of content consumption. So content consumption, I'm picking the 15 Pro Max all day. However, if you have an iPad or something like that, that's even better than the 15 Pro Max at content consumption. And so if you find yourself using your iPad a lot at home and you just need a phone for portability, the 15 Pro is the better option for that. Because I find myself on it less and I find myself being more focused on what I'm doing on my iPad or my computer and then just using this as a phone. So I think for the phone aspect, this works better. But if you're not using a tablet, you just have a laptop and you want to do all your content consumption on your phone, the larger option is going to be the pick here for me. All right, so we have iOS 18 Beta 3 software on both of these. And I got to tell you, I'm really liking the dark icons. I think they're pretty awesome. And I think they really made Apple iPhone more interesting this year with the new customizations. It definitely is way more interesting than iOS 17. However, the general core experience is still going to stay the same, although you can now move icons wherever you want on the screen. Some people are saying it's basically iOS Android this year. I wouldn't go that far, because just because you can move the icons, the customization is still nowhere near as open as the Linux Android platform. So definitely this one right here, the software on both, they're pretty much the same. They really are. And why I'm saying that, like, obviously they're the same, but why I'm saying that is because if you're trying to decide between both the 15 Pro and Pro Max, it's not like the Pro Max, because it's larger, is giving you like a split screen mode or some kind of pen or something like the Samsung does to really enhance the larger screen experience. You're basically going to be running around iOS doing the same exact things. So the choice is pretty simple. Do you want portability or large? I kind of get irked and still a little bit annoyed that I don't have any split screen on the Pro Max, even all these months later after iOS 18. I like that the calculator finally has history. That's pretty nice, and you could see what you're calculating. You don't have to do the swipe back anymore. You can just see what you're doing here. But at the same time, that's just a calculator. Like, come on, Apple, can I get some more usability enhancements on these larger phones? Maybe they'll do it when they go to like an ultra iPhone or something like that, but it just seems like I've been forever waiting just for a simple split screen mode on a large iPhone. So for that reason alone, the software is near identical. It really is the same. It's just on the portability or large size. Okay, so both of these are rocking the A17 Pro chips on board, and both have 8 gigs of RAM. Good choice by Apple to put 8 gigs of RAM on these, giving you AI features. I'm a little annoyed that they didn't put 12 and put 8 on the base model. So I think the base model should have gotten AI, but guess not. It's going to be a new big upgrade season for 16 people who want to use AI. But you'll see both clocked in at 3.78 gigahertz. They're not downclocking the 15 Pro. They're keeping it about the same, and the memory the same. So the performance is actually identical. Now, one thing I noticed over switching between both of these is that I find myself wanting to do more on the 15 Pro Max just because of the larger screen. I actually find myself more glued into the phone. But if you were doing something like video editing on your phone, I know it's a rarity, like a lot of people don't do that, but if you wanted to do it, you're going to do heavier usage or gaming for extended periods, of course, get the 15 Pro Max, longer battery life and more screen space to do things like video rendering and stuff like that. Honestly, this has enough power to shoot a video, edit a video, upload it to YouTube, all right from your phone itself. A simple movie app like iMovie right there, or even some of these other ones up here like InShot or CapCut. These are not sponsors for those apps, but I'm just saying these apps are simple to use, and you could definitely pop out a video easily just off your phone. You don't need a MacBook or an Apple, iPad, anything like that. You could do it straight from the phone, straight from the YouTube app itself, the Studio app. So if you want to create, or TikTok, if you do that, and I'm not a fan of that, but if you do that, you can do it there. Also, you can upload to Instagram, Facebook, wherever your video source platform is. You're going to be ready to rock here. And I would pick this one for that type of stuff, or video gaming and stuff like that. Over here, though, I find it more of a in and out, a portable messaging phone, FaceTime, check a couple emails, play a quick game if you're in a pinch. This is about that. Just very good phone usage here. That's this one right here for sure with the 15 Pro. And I've enjoyed that because it's slim, it's light, it's premium, it's fast, great cameras, does the job. So it's really good in that aspect. Okay, so battery life. Now, I have used the 15 Pro Max a little more. You can see I'm at 99%. I have 94 cycles on there, 43 on the other one. So I got about twice as much cycles on a 15 Pro Max as my 15 Pro. But in terms of this area, I'm actually shocked how much better the 15 Pro battery life is than the 14 Pro. It's actually an all-day phone pretty easily, especially if you're using it as just a phone. The 15 Pro Max, though, is a heavy use phone all day. Like, you could use this phone heavy and still make it the whole day. So this is for the people who are really heavy on their phone use. This one is good to go. However, if you're a light user, this is like a 2-day phone right here. And this one right here is always just going to be a 1-day. I always feel like you're going to be charging up for the next day for the 15 Pro. So that's how I would choose. Heavier use, go with the 15 Pro Max. regular one-day use, go with the 15 Pro. You're going to be happy there. So when it comes to the cameras, I have to showcase this. The better zoom on the iPhone 15 Pro Max allows you to really punch in on wildlife, buildings, things of that nature, and get things like this, shots like this. Now, you can get them on the iPhone 15 Pro as well, but you know, you're gonna have to deal with a little bit more noise because it can't go as far on the zoom. So this has been a really big enhancement to the iPhone 15 Pro Max for sure. And in the area of camera, if you want to improve your zooming capabilities with your photography and videography, you're gonna like the 15 Pro Max more. In general though, the performance of these cameras are just superb. They have natural looking photos, good sharpness, not over sharpened, good dynamic range. The entire experience of the iPhone 15 Pro Max is just superb. You can even see look at the roof on this outhouse thingy right here. It definitely looks really good. Of course, you could probably get sharper details there on the zoom in. But over here, you can see, I could still read that says refreshment stand. I can't read the text there, but I'm not asking for that. That's like, I'm not going to zoom in on that ever really. But overall, just a really, really nice camera to take out for nature photography, for city photography, for people photography, anything you're doing. This thing is superb. And the simplicity in the 5x zoom with the 25 is the main reason why I'm picking this one over the 15 Pro. However, if you guys do like a more portable, low-key camera, more point-and-shoot kind of feel, both of these are good at that, but the 15 Pro has that more small, low-key, nice, one-handed photography experience. So if you like that stuff, I'm still picking the 15 Pro. If you want it lighter on a tripod, 15 Pro as well. The iPhone 15 Pro is also capable of some amazing shots as well. So you're not missing out. Don't let me make you think that just because I was praising the 15 Pro Max's zoom that this one you're missing out, because you're getting nearly exactly the same thing, but you only get the 3x zoom. So if you want the extra reach, the extra zoom, and the bigger framing because of the larger screen, the 15 Pro Max is the camera king. But both of them have macro mode, raw modes, 4K 60, same front-facing cameras. Those are also pretty good on both of these. So I think you're going to be happy there. So definitely a thumbs up on there. I think both of these need an upgrade for their front-facing cameras, but maybe we'll see that here this year because they've been kind of the same for a very long time, pretty similar to prior years. Phone call quality and connectivity has been surprisingly good for iPhones this year. Of course, I feel like I'm saying this every year, but I found this to still get worse signal strength in like basements and like harder to reach areas, whereas my Samsung actually held on to the signal in areas like that, my S24 Ultra, for example. So they're still not beating Samsung in this area, but their connectivity, their phone call quality, their Wi-Fi speeds, Bluetooth connectivity, again, there's some phones with faster standards, but overall they connect and they do very well, especially when you're connecting them to Apple products. They're just like flawless experience. And that's something we overlook a lot, even though the iPhones might seem a little boring to some people these days, is the polish. Everything just works simple and smooth, and there's no complexity to it. You can just like use these phones, get on with your day, and not have to like, you just open the apps, they just work, everything works, and you just move on. So that's one of the intangible things that people don't really think about when using the iPhone. Shocking turn of events, audio performance was actually louder sounding on the 15 Pro over the Max, and maybe that's because it's all crammed into a smaller body. The decibel reading was only about a 1.5 to 2. It was a small difference, but it was something. So let me wrap it up here with both of these. 9 months later, I wanted to talk about both these in comparison. We compared these when they originally came out and how I feel about them now. So 9 months later, should you wait for the 16 at this point? And the answer is probably yes. Obviously, you'll want to see what's coming soon. This is a steep investment when phones coming out in just a few months. Even if you're on a carrier plan, you're committing to paying that for an extended period when a new phone is coming out. The only people who should probably get these right now, they just absolutely need a phone right now. They just broke theirs. And even in that case, you get a used phone and wait it out just a couple months. But besides the 16s, the 15 Pro Max is probably the one I would probably invest in if I had the choice, just because the bigger battery, just bigger, larger battery means longer usage, because the smaller battery is going to deplete faster, has less capacity. So I'm going with the 15 Pro Max longer term. Overall, too, larger screen. You can grow with this phone if you decide you want to get a bigger screen in the future. You don't have to. This is already really big. Also, with this camera being a 25 times zoom, as they go to the longer zoom on the smaller 16 Pro, maybe not. You already have that here. So for me, it's the 15 Pro Max, the winner. But there's something to be said about this. $200 cheaper, similar phone, and also a very good phone all around. So I've actually been using this since the beta launch. I've been on the 15 Pro. I actually haven't used my 15 Pro Max as my main phone since the beta. I have beta on both, but I started it with this phone. And I haven't really desired getting off of it. I really like its portability factor. So that's it for me. Which one would you choose? The 15 Pro Max or 15 Pro? Or would you just wait for the 16 at this point? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you found this long-term update review helpful, enjoyable, informative, leave a thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well. And peace.